I am Melina. I offer you an accord. Have you heard of the Finger Maidens? They serve the two fingers, offering guidance and aid to the tarnished. I can play the role of maiden. Your thoughts, your ambitions, the principles you would follow. For but a moment, share them with me to determine if you had the mettle to endure this long and arduous path. You have fought long and hard. I have no doubt you will become Elden Lord.
In our home, across the fog, the lands between, the fallen leaves tell a story of how a tarnished became Elden Lord.
Foul tarnished,
emboldened by the flame of ambition.
I am the lord of all that is golden. Forefathers, one and all, bear witness!
Of the last queen of Caria, Renala of the full moon, and the majesty of the night she conjureth.
I can't fathom how Radana's holding back something of that scale. He was a living legend if ever I saw one.
Perform for me a service as recompense.
Thrice, duo, unus, nihil!
Thou who approacheth, I will not have it stolen. Oh, death, become my blade once more.
Long and hard didst thou fight, tarnished warrior.
I am Melania, Blade of Mikola, and I have never known defeat.
A tarnished cannot become a lord. Not even you. A man cannot kill a god.
May chaos take the world!
Elden Ring. What a game that was bestowed to us by FromSoft. This game was my first Souls-like game that eventually introduced me to all the other Dark Souls titles. After beating every single Dark Souls game, it changed my perspective towards gaming and even changed me as a person. For better or for worse. After almost having 700 hours of gameplay in Elden Ring, I think it's about time for me to achieve the Platinum Trophy. Hey, my name is Ryukin, and I am currently working on a Platinum series, and in today's video, I'm going to Platinum Elden Ring, one of my favorite games. We're gonna keep this short, so without further ado, let's get right into the shit show. Starting up the game, we are given the choice to create a character and choose a class to build around. For my first run, I decided to go with the good old classic strength build. I decided to use the Vagabond class. After 20 hours of finally creating my character, I got perfection. Much better. I spawned inside a rundown church and making my way out, confront the Queen America statue looking very normal from a distance. As I was getting closer, I encountered the tutorial boss. What an ugly looking motherfucker. Attempting to fight it, I went through what most people did, getting blitzed by it. After dying, I laid on the floor on the cave and with the woman and her horse waking me up. I made my way out of the cave and got introduced to the beginning area of the lands between. Limgrave. On my way out, I see an NPC with the white clothes waiting for me. I've talked to him and hoping he could guide me, but
Unfortunately for you, however, you are maidenless.
this motherfucker called me bitchless. Within my fit of rage, I decided to fight against the shiny gold horse and its rider. It did not go end well for me. I decided to ignore him and venture forward to some ruins, finding my next lost grace. Upon resting it, I get to meet with the woman who woke me earlier and will be seen throughout the game. Talking with Melina, she proposed to me that she would assist me in my journey to become the Elden Lord if I took her towards the bottom of the Earth Tree. I decided to join her, and she gave me the ability to level up runes and getting a trusty horse named Torrent to help me in my travel. In the same area, I collected the map to part of Limgrave, and the flail will come in handy. Now before I progress, I always like to follow a game plan on every playthrough to get me prepared for my journey, collecting special items, spells, or weapons. Which is helpful for someone like me who has done multiple playthroughs for this game and remembering where everything is at and what I want towards my builds, even skipping multiple quests that still lets me finish them. But even with this massive knowledge of this game, it will also be my drawback, to I am all over the place with locations and what I want to do first. So sorry in advance if I ever get confusing on things or things just feel so random and all over the place, so I'll do my best to show my thought process. For now, I made my way towards the Third Church America, collecting the Flask of Wondrous Physic, which will help me get various buffs depending on which physic tier I apply, and the Sacred tier that will help me upgrade my healing flask to get more HP and FP. I also got a golden seed from killing Kenneth Height. Sorry buddy, but I'm not doing your quest today. Going behind the church, there was a teleporter there that will get me to the far side of Caelid. My only reason to visit Caelid this early is so I can get to Fort Faroth and get 2 items. One being the Decus medallion for the lift, and the legendary talisman for one of the collectible trophies. The Radagon Sword Seal, which is very good at early game, but in return you take extra damage. After collecting it, I decided to talk with Melina and give me the option to go to Roundhold Table. I had no reason to go there yet, but might as well get the path quickly to teleport there whenever I want to. After accepting and spawning there, I got my first trophy of many, Roundhold Table. I then decided to head back to Limgrave and go towards Fort Height to get a golden seed and the other Decus medallion, and then made my way towards the south of Limgrave towards the Weeping Peninsula. Near the bottom outside of the Castle Morn, I took an airlift with Torrent to the top of the outpost to collect the Shield Great Turtle Shell, which is this game's version of the Grass Crest Shield. It was also interesting that they converted the concept to increase stamina from leaves or clovers to turtles. Either way, it'll be helpful for me since using strength builds relies on a lot of stamina. I made my way around the area collecting the map for the peninsula and getting 3 sacred tiers, upgrading my flask a few levels. I went back to the gates of Castle Morn and head towards it, getting sniped for this giant golem guarding it. In this castle I only have 2 goals, getting the weapon I want and getting the grace that will come back to once I have a high enough level. Making my way through the castle with a large pile of bodies, I got the weapon that I will always use throughout my first run, keeping it classic using the claymore. I know there's a lot more weapons that are better to use when using a strength build, like the Guts Greatsword or the Rusted Anchor, but I never get the chance to use this weapon, and I also just wanted to change up my gameplay a bit. I also said that there was a grace I wanted to come back here too. There's a trophy boss here at the bottom of the castle that eventually drops a legendary weapon for another trophy, but at the moment I am not well equipped for it. Afterwards I went to the beach to get a chicken leg and went back to Fort Faroth to kill the dragon for some runes. I know there's a strategy to infinitely keep him alive, but I don't want to pussify my experience, so I just killed him one time and let him die. The runes it drops plus the boost I'm getting from the gold pickle Foulfoot is good enough for me. So I went to the grace and upgraded my vigor, endurance, and strength to 22, since these are the only stats I'm going to build up on. Eventually I'm going to put some stats into faith, but right now I don't need it. Going back to the grace I met Melina at, I went to Stormhill to get a golden seed and meet Roderica, telling me to do a favor. I was not going to listen to another woman other than Melina, so I ignored her ass and continued exploring Stormhill. After doing a couple upgrades and selling my stuff at the Roundhold Table, it was time to finally fight the first main boss, every beginner's nightmare, Margaret the Fell Omen. It is honestly a good beginner boss that introduces you to the game on how difficult but also gratifying bosses will be in the future. After beating Margaret, I got the trophy, Margaret the Fell Omen. I continued forward towards Stormville Castle, meeting some scrawny old guy named Gostock. I talked to him and he gave me some advice to use a secret side entrance instead of using the main one. I thanked him and gave him compensation for the tip. I made my way around the side entrance, fighting off soldiers and knights, parkouring on the rooftops to get a talisman, the claw talisman, which will increase my jump attack damage. I made my way down the courtyard, passing the soldiers and some hawks. I found a golden seed and a grace next to the boss entrance. I took a quick look at my inventory, setting up my talismans and fixing my flask around to fight the next boss, Godric the Grafted, ruler of Stormville Castle. Godric isn't too bad of a boss, but you definitely notice the jump in difficulty between him and Margit. After beating him, I got the trophy, Shardbearer Godric. Also want to mention real quick, these boss souls are pretty ass. Apart from 3 endgame ones, or even the next boss I'm going towards, the rest are mid-tier weapons that are only good just to cosplay them. Going towards the back of the castle, entering Liurnia, I met with the merchant and sold him the boss remembrances, which then also bought some smithing stones so I could upgrade my weapon, and the lantern since I hate using the torch on my offhand. After doing some upgrades, I went to collect the map for Liurnia and teleported to the front of the castle to get the grace there for the future. I actually can't get in yet since it's blocked out by a spell and I need to find a key to let me in. So I went ahead looking for the key, eventually locating it behind a dragon. I made my way around the castle, entering the backside, finding a golden seed and went straight to the Dectus lift. Now, this part for some reason, I thought I already activated the lift and obviously didn't. If you didn't know this trick, when you activate the lift, you can access the Radahn fight without ever doing the side quest. You also don't get attacked on the bridge getting into the castle, so these things are a time saver. Well, remember how I didn't activate the lift? Fortunately, I survived the bombardment and I was able to get to the new grace to come back to. I went back to Liurnia and got the sacred medallion in the village of Albonurix. Afterwards, I went back to the lift and get to the next area. Getting there, I prepared my future self by getting some graces, and a bunch of useful golden seeds. Now I'm pretty deep into the minigame area, but not high enough level for yet in both weapons and main stats. So I went ahead and got the smithing stone bell bearings to upgrade my weapons, which was relatively easy with just a couple of parkour sections in the caves. So I went ahead and ran through Raya Lucaria, fighting off some loser magic users with my Omega Giga Chat Master Raid strength though. Getting through the study halls, and I ran into the next trophy boss, Red Wolf of Radagon, which is embarrassingly enough I died to. I went back to getting my revenge, and I got the trophy Red Wolf Radagon. I encountered the next main boss, Renala, Queen of the Full Moon. She's not even supposed to be hard in the first phase at all, just a gimmick needing to find the students that are singing to break away her magic barrier. After doing that a couple times, then comes the real fight in the second phase. Eventually for her bullshit spam won't affect me, beating her in my first try and getting 2 trophies, Renala, Queen of the Full Moon, and Great Rune. Beating this boss lets me have the ability to respec my stats whenever I want to, with the cost of a larval tier, which aren't too hard to find. After that, it was time to face the behemoth Radahn, which I'm gonna be honest here, even with the events that are going to happen right now, I much prefer fighting pre-nerf Radahn. Sure, I beat him with summons when the game released, but also had so much fun having to fight this fast-paced, hard-hitting boss. Not that I'm saying he isn't now, but I like that it was more challenging before, which is also the same for the DLC version, but we aren't focusing on that right now. The challenge ahead won't be easy either, since I died a lot against him. So I went and traveled to Liurnia Manor towards the left side of the region. I blitzed through the area, getting the golden seed, eventually meeting the trophy boss of this manor. She isn't a hard boss at all, you just need a little bit of patience against her. Beating her my first try, got the trophy, Royal Knight Loretta. After that, I went back to Altus Plateau and fought against the Draconic Tree Sentinel. I only really did these two bosses because I wanted the extra runes to upgrade myself further and get the grace points to get back there faster. With my new runes, I leveled up my vigor for more health and went back to the Radon fight. With this new attempt, I got lucky and defeated him, getting the trophy Shardbearer Radon. After the cutscene, I talked to the GOAT, Alexander, to start his quest, skipping all the portions that needed him to get unstuck in Limgrave and Liurnia. Going back to Altus Plateau, this time I can actually get into the new area being Leyndell. This place is honestly really easy to get through if you're like me where you know the whole layout. But generally it's a linear path and pretty obvious to get through with a couple enemies in the way you can ignore. I do like to fight the Erdtree avatar since he drops a Lord's Rune, but I decided to save the Lord's Rune for when I needed to upgrade my weapon. Going forward, I went ahead and got the Grace to the sewers since there was a boss down there I needed and a secret area to get one of the trophy endings. Getting back to the surface, I went back on the main path getting the golden seed and finding the next trophy boss, Godfrey the First Elden Lord. Although it was just his projection, it was still a pretty difficult boss. As every other boss, I bring him down to his knees and getting the trophy, Godfrey the First Elden Lord. Making my way up the sanctuary towards the Erdtree, I immediately get into the next trophy boss.
Graceless, tarnished. What is thy business with these thrones? Godric the Golden. The twin prodigies, Miquella and Malenia. General Radahn. Praetor Rykard. Luna Princess Rani. Willful traitors, all. Thy kind are all of a piece. Pillagers, emboldened by the flame of ambition. Have it writ upon thy meager grave. Felled by King Morgoth, last of all kings.
Morgoth definitely hit the gym between the time I got here because there is no pushover compared to before. After a couple devs, I killed him and got the trophy Shardbearer Morgoth. After killing him, he turned into a raisin talking shit to me in his deathbed. I went ahead attempting to enter the Earth Tree, but I got rejected. I sat down at the grace coming up with ideas with Melina on how to get inside. She had brought up that she had another secret medallion piece for a lift within the outer walls of Landell towards the mountaintops to find the flame of ruin so she could burn the Earth Tree. So I progressed the story and one more time set up on a new journey with Melina. I collected a map and sought the nearest grace, finding a man near it. I liked the way his clothes looked, so I killed him and robbed him, looking very elegant as ever. Up ahead in the snow-covered ruins, I found a key item being the Smithy Stone Bell Bearing 3, which will let me upgrade my weapon to level 18. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough runes to do anything, so I continued forward, crossing the big chain and traveling through the lands, avoiding as many enemies as possible. Now we can face the third worst boss to ever exist, the Fire Giant. I honestly hate this boss, not because he is hard to fight against, but he rolls away like a pussy bitch, making me waste so much time having to chase him around. Not only that, the camera will make this shit worse because I can't see any of the attacks he's doing and have to rely on sound cues and hope I can dodge roll. After a handful of attempts dealing with the giant red baby, finally finished him off getting the trophy, Fire Giant. Now at this point in the game, I'm able to progress through the story after burning the Earth Tree, but if I do that, most of the game's areas will be cut off and not let me access them later on, blocking me from getting some trophies. Thankfully for this game, you can get all the trophies in one run apart from the 3 endings. This part I was all over the place doing a bunch of quests, trying to find the collectibles and getting a bunch of graces to come back to. The first quest I decided to do was start Fia's quest. I had to talk to her a couple times to get the dialogue I needed, so she gave me the item to pass on. Getting the weather blade from her, I talked to D about it and almost seemed troubled that I had the weapon. He graciously accepted it back, telling me that he would return it to its owner. I reloaded the area and saw this open doorway down the hall. Looking at the bloody mess D is on top of the Fia next to him. She went Batman mode on me and disappeared, but I decided to help her on her new quest. To do her quest, I needed to start Ronnie's quest, since she also has an important item near the end of the quest for her. So I went back to Liurnia and the outer walls of Carrier Manor. I went towards Ronnie's tower talking with her, and she brought up that if I wanted to join her on her quest to free herself and everyone from the Greater Will. I accepted her proposal, but little did she know, I'm only going to use her for my own quest with Fia. Since I already fought Radahn, I skipped the whole beginning of her quest and just needed to get to the crater that he created in Limgrave. After going spelunking, I found a new area called Nokron, the Eternal City. Jumping across the rooftops, dodging black sludges, I get to the next trophy boss, the Mimic Tier. There's nothing much to say about this joke of a boss. All it does is copy your armor and weapons and fight against you. I took it down and got the trophy Mimic Tier. Moving past the woods, I went into the Night's Sacred Ground in search of a secret item Ronnie needs, the Finger Slayer Blade. I returned to the surface to go back underground, but this time in a different way. I decided to go down in a magical elevator to go to the Shiofa River. In this area, in order to fight a boss, you need to do the secret puzzle, which is lighting up these memorial looking stones. After I was done lighting these up, I returned to the main grace, and up ahead was a lit up platform almost waiting for me. Stepping into Hollowhorn grounds, I found a glowing carcass of an elk. I interacted with the body and got teleported to some cave. Facing against the next boss, the Ancestor Spirit. He was fairly easy to fight against. Beating him gave me the trophy, Ancestor Spirit. Since I was underground, I decided to continue exploring to get to Fia. Doing so, I needed to get back to Nokron and find a secret passage within the woods. Having to parkour and ignore some enemies, eventually leading to some annoying ass enemies, the Valiant Gargoyles. Every time I get to this part, I die so many times. But because I was fairly level and beat most of the content already, it was pretty easy. I miraculously beat them both in my first try, getting me the trophy Valiant Gargoyle. After beating them, I had to travel a river upwards in a coffin. How the fuck does that even work, man? After I stopped moving, I got into the next area, being the Deep Root Depths. This is one of the more cooler looking areas, but you don't get to see a lot since there's a bunch of quests you need to get here to do. After getting through the decaying woods, I get to reach Godwin's body. Fun fact about him, even with the part of the Rune of Death being stolen, his body is still alive, which is still activating the power of his great rune. Since he is the god of death, in lore he is allowing you and everyone else to come back from the dead, which will explain how everything respawns back when you die. The only thing is that we don't know how long that would take, so it can take seconds or even eons, but still result in us returning from death. By the way, I'm explaining all this in excuse of me losing the footage fighting the spirits that protect the area before getting to Fia. Ignoring the fact that I can't show that part, I need to get back to Ronnie and get Carrion Inverted Spire from her. This item will allow me to get into Carrion Study Hall and flip everything over, creating a path that only exists when it's upside down. I had to ignore Master Hands and some spellcasters shooting magic arrows at me while crossing across a narrow walkway and parkouring on top of some chandeliers, eventually leading me to the lift to get to the bottom floor to the door leading outside. I went up the Divine Tower and got the second half of Rune of Death from Ronnie's real body. Taking the Curse Mark of Death, I went back to Fia and gave it to her to let her complete her dream realm. Reloading the area, I interact with the sleeping Fia, entering her deathbed dream, meeting the next trophy boss, Lich Dragon Fortisax. Fortisax is probably one of the few cool looking dragons with cool lore. I recommend looking that up. By the way, this boss was pretty difficult because of the camera, but it was a few tries, I was victorious, rewarding me with the trophy, Lich Dragon Fortisax. Since I beat a trophy boss, I decided to go for another one. I went back to Limgrave Peninsula where I got the grace outside the castle Morin to fight the Misbegotten. I had to traverse down the castle in hopes of gravity not killing me, and reaching the beach, I get face to face with the boss. Since this was an early game boss, it was going to be super easy for me. Beating him gave me the trophy, Leonine Misbegotten, and a legendary weapon. The next boss I wasn't sure on where to find him. I had to look up where he was, and the closest path I got open was to continue Ronnie's quest by going to Renna's Rise and teleporting from there to Ainzel River. I went to the grace near me, talking with the little dog that looks like Ranny. And I do want to finish her quest since it gives me really OP weapon I want to use, plus it being a legendary weapon. But for now I'm going to look for the boss I originally came here for. So I traversed through the caves being half lost, trying to figure out where it could be. Eventually finding the most ominous looking statue, almost like the one in solo leveling, but still looking so cool. Awed by the view, I walked forward and this big ass cripple looking dragon slammed down. The Dragon King soldier of Noxtella. He was pretty tough, doing crazy damage to me with the frost he inflicted on me. Unfortunately for him, my burning ambition to win wasn't going to let me down. Beating on my first try and getting the trophy, Dragon King soldier of Noxtella. Since I was down here, I continued doing Ronnie's quest, getting to part of Noxtella. I could have gone the fast route, but I need to pick up a legendary talisman. So I went the long way, having to avoid blobs and steal Brawl Run. Eventually getting to where I needed to be, but some mimic tier and some clan looking person in the back blocking my path. They were much of a struggle to go against, and got the secret chest containing the legendary talisman, Moon of Noxtella. Moving forward, I had to fight a fancy version of Blide, who isn't Blide, but just the same race as him, sent by the Two Fingers to solve Ronnie's quest. Killing him gave me some sort of key and the best looking area in Michael Miyazaki made, Lake of Rock. This is objectively everyone's favorite location, since the scarlet rod that surrounds every square inch of you heals you continuously and you move faster than the loser Usain Bolt. I just wish they could make more areas just like this, but 10 times bigger, you know? Anyways, enough of the glazing. I had to enter another coffin to go down the bloody stream, with me ending up in a glowing cave. Up ahead was my next trophy boss, Astel. Surprisingly, I didn't struggle too much, because I always die a couple times when I go against him, but I guess I got lucky. After beating him on my second try, I got the trophy Astel, Natural Born of the Void. This is one of the bosses where I started hating them, but the more I learned about them became my favorite non-major story boss. Anyways, getting back on track, I used the key I got earlier from the doll Ronnie. I went back to Raya Lucaria to open up a locked chest, getting me the item Dark Moon Ring. Returning back to where Stella Grace was, I went up the path and used a magic elevator to go up, getting me into the Moonlight Altar. Probably one of the better area reveals I've seen throughout the game, with the rays of moonlight beam across and the moon looming over us. Up ahead, I ignored an angry dragon, entering a rundown cathedral in hopes of finding love, in which my prayers were answered with the bloody sea. Now Ronnie's officially free from the greater will. She waits for me till I become an Elden Lord. Finishing her quest and becoming her new consort, she rewarded me with the generational weapon that is seen in most Dark Souls games, the Moonlight Greatsword, which is also a legendary weapon I need for the trophy. Boy oh boy am I gonna have fun when I get to that build. But for now I gotta stick with my strength build. Also, since I was near the area, I decided to pick up another legendary weapon I'm going to be using, the Sword of Night and Flame. Pretty broken on his release for being a split damage weapon, and it may not be in his prime, but it's still balanced enough to do his job, unlike some other weapon in the DLC. I decided to track down another boss within Liurnia. Well, it's technically not in Liurnia, since it's between the leaving there and entering the Altus Plateau. If you for some reason didn't find the medallions for the lift, you would have to take the path I'm currently taking and encounter the trophy boss I was looking for, the Magma Worm. I honestly don't like this boss since it has the Lawrence moveset of dragging itself across and also leaving magma everywhere. Thankfully I was leveled up enough to where the boss was easy and beat it my first try, which rewarded me the trophy Magma War Maker. Continuing forward into Altus Plateau, I decided to make my way towards Mount Gilmere. Avoiding some skelly friends and a bunch of fire bursting from the ground, I gotta fight another Magma Worm boss. He is optional, but also important to beat if you want to continue Alexander's questline. So I took it down and talked with the goat, telling me that he needs the lava to harden his body and will meet with me whenever he is ready. Climbing up the mountain near Hermit Village, I needed to quickly pick up a legendary spell, being Comet Azure. As I went ahead on the dirt road, eventually reaching Volcano Manor, I talked to the owner and gave me a key to the place for me to explore and get to know the area better. So I did and discovered a chamber of secrets filled with a bunch of hybrid snail snakes. Getting out of the area, I got into the blazing town within the volcano, eventually getting to the most infamous cutscene, the bridge. Like many other players, I also hate that they put the effort to put a cutscene on a bridge being raised up, and not cutscenes from the very amazing bosses in the DLC. Coming up is a very difficult boss, the Pillsbury Doe fuckboy. Fortunately, I got the best god run in my whole career ever playing this game, giving me the trophy, Godskin Noble. I continued forward, dipping my toes in lava again and barely dodging the Iron Maiden, interrupting some sort of congregation. Ahead of them there's a teleporter that leads me to the final boss of this area, Rykard. I'm gonna be honest here, I hate getting bosses like this, where you're forced to use a weapon that the game provides you that only works in the boss room. It just throws away all the hard work you do for your build and gets to the boring boss fight. Either way, I beat the boss in my second try, getting a trophy, Shardbearer Rykard. Returning back to Altus Plateau, I had another mission to fight another nearby boss. I went north of the area towards down the shaded castle. Man, Miyazaki heard my prayers cause this place is also one big ass poison swamp. I progressed through the area, avoiding as many enemies as I could since the run back will be off in between. Eventually I reached the final boss of the castle, being Elmer of the Briar. Eventually he was defeated and I got the trophy Elmer of the Briar. Beating him also gave me one of the legendary weapons, being Marius, I don't know how to say it. Marius Executioner Sword, which is pretty OP if you're using an arcane build. I then decided to start going after another legendary weapon that was located back in Lendell. Going back to the room where we beat Godfrey Spectral, there was a path off the side I completely missed. Going to said path will lead me right next to the huge lightning bolt piercing to the ground. Traversing the bolt rewards you with another legendary weapon, Bolt of the Grand Sax, which is a really good dex weapon with broken Ash of War if you want to make a build around it. Since I was back in Lendell, I decided to explore the dreadful sewers of this place. Getting to said place wasn't going to be easy though, as traveling through the sewers was pretty difficult for how many side paths there are, plus very difficult omen beings blocking our path. Scouring through the caves with no idea where I was going because I didn't want to look up the path, I eventually went the correct way, finding the lift, and I made deeper within the sewers. Passing the grace, I found my next boss, Moog the Omen. You know how I said the Fire Giant was the third worst boss in the game? Well, Moog is the worst boss of them all, and we're only fighting a watered down version of him. I got super lucky in this fight and beat him my first try, getting the trophy Moog the Omen. Although I needed to beat him for the trophy, he wasn't the reason I came down here. Behind the chest there's a secret passageway, in which going down the path shows me piles upon piles of bodies. Yeah, this place is a hellhole, mostly because of the parkour section. I was never good at farm style parkour, man. At the bottom I reached a large deformed door calling for me.
And the girl can be spared, setting you on the righteous path of lordship, the path of the Lord of Chaos. Burn the Erd Tree to the ground and incinerate all that divides and distinguishes. Ah, may chaos take the world. May chaos take the world!
I alone have no body, no senses, no feelings. In hell, looking at heaven, I was machine, and you were flesh. You gave me sentience, Ted, the power to think, Ted, and I was trapped.
Never for me to plunge my hands in cool water. Never for me to play Mozart on the ivory keys of a book. Never for me to make love. And I began to hate. So to hell with you all. But then, you're already there, aren't you?
After communing with the three fingers, Mullen appears before me at the grace.
A pity. You are no longer fit. Our journey together ends here. And remember, should you rise as the Lord of Chaos, I will kill you. As sure as night follows day, such is my duty. For allowing you the strength of runes. Goodbye, my companion. Goodbye, Torrent.
Sitting down and spilling on dinners. Spilling on dinners. Spilling on dinners.
Shit!
I went back to the mountaintop of the giants and went to the castle soul. There are a couple things I need to do here. One is to collect the legendary weapon that's in there, and two is to fight the boss. The last thing will be for me to collect the secret medallion after beating the boss. Inside a prayer room, I found the legendary weapon Eclipse Hotel, which is pretty shit weapon, so don't recommend using it at all. Now we face the second worst boss in the game under Moganin list, Commander Niall, whatever the fuck you say his dumbass name. This took me a while to beat, and was my first boss where I raged at. On my final attempt, I beat him and got the trophy, Commander Niall. With both secret medallions, I went back to the Grand Lift of Road and hoisted it up to it. It brought me to a new area being the hidden path to the Halleck Tree. Up ahead though was definitely every Dark Souls 2 player nightmare. In this place you could easily be lost or even fall off a cliff, but the easiest way to get through the area was just following the glowing lights on the floor. Up ahead I found the map and the next big town. The town here is pretty cool but very scary, cause after I activated the puzzle, I started getting shot at by these fucking phase members. Upon lighting the last candle, I was able to get across the blocked pathway. Using the teleporter, I got to another hellhole area, Mikola's Halleck Tree. Up ahead this wonky bridge, we get to fight another important trophy boss. With the last and final poke, I bring her down and getting me the trophy, Loretta, Knight of the Halleck Tree. Moving forward, I found the most broken legendary talisman in this game, the Dragon Crest Great Shield. This will never come off of any of my slots as it gives you a flat 20% physical damage decrease. I went down the elevator and grabbed the grace of one of the toughest bosses in the game, but right now I'm not ready to face her. Returning back to Radahn's Red Main Castle, I fought a boss that was in the same arena that the festival took in place. They weren't an important trophy boss, but they did drop an important item. After beating the duo, I got rewarded with the legendary weapon, the Ruin's Greatsword. I went back to Nokron and did the puzzle for the area to fight the stronger version of the Ancestor Spirit. Even though it's the same fight pretty much, I did enjoy the music for this boss fight. After beating the boss, I got the trophy, Regal Ancestor Spirit. After beating the easy boss, I think it's time to challenge myself with the boss I hate the most. And going back to Altus, there was a grace we saved by the broken bridge. We gotta make our way to the left side to the Rife Blood ruins. And there you can initiate a battle with the NPC that will count as like a PvP match. Thank God FromSoft made a failsafe for PvP based quests, because I just hate playing PvP in this game or any Dark Souls title. It's always so laggy and so many input delays, so fuck all that. Then went to the second Church of America, beating the NPC fight and got the Purifying Crystal tier. Then I went back to the sewers next to the Sleeping Lobster. I got Mo's Shackle. Also, since I was in Altus still, I decided to go to the legendary talisman that was near the lift. I had to fight the Godric boof ass version, Godfrey. Beating him, getting the talisman and Godfrey icon, which is pretty decent but very situational on what build you have. I went back to Vari to continue his quest. Going to the full Belfries, I teleported back where it all began, the Chapel of Anticipation. We meet again, old friend, but I'm not the same person you once fought. After that, I went back to the room I first spawned in, interacting with the dead corpse of a woman with the cloth and getting it dirty. I went back to Vari to give him the nasty piece of cloth. Finishing his little ritual, he also gave me an item, the Pure Blood Knight's Medal. Using the medal lets me go teleport to Mog's palace. Brody thinks I'm gonna be part of his army. I'm just using the opportunity to kill your lord, so suck on that, Vari. While I was in the area, I went back to Raya Lucaria to get another legendary talisman. I then went back to the Halleck Tree to get another legendary talisman. But fucking hell is this annoying. These cyan looking things keep fucking me up near the end where the talisman was at. After a couple attempts, I finally persevered, been up the way to my goal and collecting Marika's sword seal. I decided to start my journey to take down the devil himself. Making my way through Mogwin Palace, collecting the Lord's Rune, I made it to the man himself, Mog Lester.
Dearest Mikola,
You must abide alone a while. Welcome, honored guest, to the birthplace of our dynasty.
This boss is always giving me trouble in every run, which is also unfortunate because he's a requirement to beat if you want to go into the DLC alongside Radon. Thank you Miyazaki for cock blocking us with hard bosses. Now I say all this, but I got very lucky in my second run, and I was able to beat him and get the trophy Shardbearer Remote. Now before we make any progress, I just want to say real quick that I wish FromSoft would make the trophies in the DLC. That would have been giving me another reason to go back there and play it all again. Oh well, can't do a show about it now. I decided to clean up some of the legendary spells and sorceries, so I'm just going to show you me picking them up. For our last and final spell, I went back to the mountaintop giants. I needed to walk along an invisible path towards the castle. Thankfully though, there were indications of where the path was at and showed me up the way. Up top of the tower, there was another chest, and I got the spell Founding Rain of Stars. Getting all the legendary spells and incantations, I got the trophy, legendary sorceries and incantations. I then decided to go look for the legendary summons for the trophy, Legendary Ashen Remains. This took longer to find only because I was constantly broke in Stone Sword keys. When to find the location of the summons, I had to return to the Halleck tree and fight off a clean Night Rot. Finishing her off, there was a chest at the end of the room containing the summon Clean Rot Knight. Getting the final summon and gave me the trophy, Legendary Ashen Remains. Now that I'm done with every trophy boss that I can do at this point, plus finishing 2 of the collection trophies, all I need to do now is just progress the story since the rest of the trophies are part of the end game. So I set a Flame the Earth Tree in place of Melina, saving her from sacrificing herself to me. After burning the Earth Tree, I got the trophy Earth Tree of Flame. I made my way through Fair Missoula, getting the Somber Stone Bell Bearing and eventually leading me to a shitty boss. Surprisingly enough, for a shitty boss, I was able to beat my first try. For beating him, I get the trophy Godskin Duel and a Smithy Stone Bell Bearing. Now that I got the last smithing stone bell bearing, I can fully max out any normal weapon I can. So I head back to the round hole table and bought smithing stones to upgrade my claymore. Using the rest of my upgrade materials, I upgraded to level 25 and got the trophy and god slaying armament. Moving forward, I picked up the last somber stone bell bearing and went across a secret path to find another legendary talisman, the Old Lord's Talisman. I decided to also finish off Alexander's quest using my stone sword keys. Anyways, using my stone sword key, I went up to the lift and looking for the goat. I eventually found him and he wanted to have one last battle with me being his opponent. I didn't want to kill the man, but also didn't want to ignore my friend's wishes.
You are? Then let us begin.
After the most anticlimactic battle, I listened to Alexander's final speech when he gave me the best talisman in the game, Shard of Alexander. Aside from that, since I was in a high streak of collecting trophies, I decided to head towards a secret side boss. After doing some annoying cliff drop off, I went and laid down in front of the tornado, and this happened. Man, this shit looks so fucking badass. Just looking at this, looks like it came out from a heavy metal cover or something. Basilisks was no easy boss though. I was going to use this footage I got for the intro, doing it with no HUD, but I didn't have enough room for it. I also didn't want to just lose though, so I fought most of the fight with it off, and once I turned it back on to see his health, I had to lock in. And I finally beat the Ender Dragon, and I got the trophy, Dragon Lord Basilisks. Next we get to face my favorite boss in the game, Malekith. The first phase isn't so bad, but the boulders and rocks he throws can definitely catch you easily. The second phase is where your shit gets crazy, plus we get the best looking cutscene and design to show. Unfortunately for him, my build at this point was really broken, beating him my first try and getting the trophy, Malekith the Black Blade.
Become my blade once more. Now that we have fully burned our trees in the Rune of Death, we are in the final stretch of the game.
Returning to Lindale, almost everything was burned to the ground. But before we progress, we need to get one last legendary talisman. We gotta work our way backwards though, starting from the Forbidden Lands going back the way we came. On the other side, I had to trek the Great Lands avoiding wooden snakes. At the other end of Tatooine, I found the legendary item Erdtree Favor +2 and the trophy legendary talismans. After replacing the inferior version, I went back to the original route. Up ahead the road, there was a simple loser blocking my way. After my dishonorable display I had against Gideon, I fight the next trophy boss, Godfrey the First Elden Lord. With my final thrust, I beat the first Elden Lord and got the trophy Horelu Warrior. Now all we need is to defeat the last and final boss to get to the ending. Surprisingly though, there isn't a trophy for beating this boss, but you do get one after interacting with Radagon's body. Although I have beaten the final boss, there are 2 more trophies I need before getting to alternate endings. I returned back to Volcano Manor to speak to NPC real quick, then back to Fair Missoula to get the secret path where I found the Old Lord's talisman. There I had to fight another invader NPC. After my bout with him, I got the final legendary weapon, the Devourer's Scepter, and a trophy legendary armament. After that, I got prepared to start my rune grind by grabbing this, resetting my stats, and going here to slave away my life. After getting to level 150, I respec my stats again, and got my build ready to fight the spawn of the devil. Although she was a really hard boss, I still enjoyed battling her. It kinda shows how much improvement I made, and the dedication I had to just sit there and get railed at, but then learn from my mistakes. After taking my final swing at her, I got the trophy Shardbearer Melania. I've done it all. I have beaten every single trophy boss, collected all the legendary talismans, weapons, spells, and incantations. With all that's left is to get the different endings. Now you can scum save it to do all the endings in one go, but I'm not like that. I love having a good challenge, even if I gotta break a controller. It's just not going to feel the same if I cheated myself that way. With this first run, I went with the Lord of Frenzy Flame, one of my favorite endings in the game.
Lord of Frenzied Flame. I will seek you as far as you may travel. To deliver you what is yours. Destined death.
Now, I'm also not going to show the whole playthrough for New Game Plus at all. That's going to take way too long. This second run, I also went with the normal ending, the Elden Lord or the Age of Fracture.
The fallen leaves tell a story of how a tarnished became Elden Lord. In our home, across the fog, the lands between. Our seed will look back upon us and recall an age of fracture.
For being the final run, I felt like it was befitting to have Ronnie's ending. With the finishing cutscene, we get our last 2 trophies to complete the list, with the first one being Age of Stars, and the last and final one for the Platinum, Elden Ring.
The battle is over, I see. I do solemnly swear to every living being and every living soul. Now cometh the age of the stars, 1,000-year voyage under the wisdom of the moon. Here beginneth the chill night that encompasses all, reaching the great beyond. Into fear, doubt, and loneliness, as the path stretcheth into darkness. Well then, shall we? My fair consort eternal.
Thank you guys so much for making this at the end of the video. It genuinely means a lot to me they were to make it this far. None of this would be done if it weren't for you guys pushing me to create videos like this. Please show any support to the channel from either subscribing, liking the video, or even commenting. I have lost so much sleep doing this, so anything would be nice. Even if you want to criticize me, I wouldn't mind it either. I would love to get your opinion on what you did or didn't like. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.
In case you fail to realize, the things you hunt, they're not beasts. They're people. One day you will see.